Spirituality Speaks, episode 6. Leo, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leo Shelton, and I'm a psychic medium, animal communicator, oracle card reader, psychic investigator, remote viewer, and everything. I just
And the
everything I
list.
mentioned is my passion. I love what I do. Um, yeah, that's who I am.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're so excited to have you. I was super stoked. I was telling everybody, I was like, oh, I get to interview a medium. And it's funny because when I first started the show 6 weeks ago, the first thing I said is like, I have to find a really good medium that will like take my call. And it was hilarious because after I ran into you on the live and you were back, I was like, oh, it was like spirit just dropped you in my lap because you were back on and here you were, and I'm so thankful that you're coming on today. And for those of you that don't know, I actually lost my pet, my cat Kayla, in January of last year, and she was a bit of a arsehole, and God love her, but she was not a very nice cat, but I loved her and she was nice to me. And I the situation I found Leo on TikTok. He does TikTok lives there all the time, guys. Go follow him. I'll make sure to put all those links down below in the description. But he gave me this amazing reading, and it was exactly my cat. And it's funny because anybody that knew my cat, when I said the things you said, they were like, oh, well, yeah, 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 100%. She was a total bitch. She was not a nice cat, and you were like so on the money, and it was really neat. So I wanted to have you on the show because here on Spirituality Speaks, we talk a lot about different gifts and having different people on that do different things. And one of my first questions to them is always, how did you start? So I'm super curious how you began this journey, which is something that not a whole lot of people talk about, but I'm sure are really interested to know.
Awesome. That's a great question because I'm curious too about when I come across other spiritual people spiritually, uh whether they're doing readings or not. I'm too curious, like how did you, like, where did it all begin for you?
Right.
So with me, um to this day, I've always had this curiosity, fascination, with the paranormal. So it really kind of uh, started with that natural, like ghosts and angels, um, things of that sort. But at the same time, well, I didn't realize this till after I was well into my journey and meditating that I was one of the one of my gifts, which now I know is called Clairsentience, which is clear feeling. Um, well, through my childhood all the way up into my adulthood, I always felt uh, out of place, like I really didn't fit in. And then the other strong thing about, uh, which I didn't know what to call it, I thought I was kind of just a weird boy, weird man, is being so sensitive, picking up people's energies and feelings and thoughts. I really didn't understand that because, my family, my mom and that religious Methodist, no one ever talked about, you know, new age or psychic gifts.
No.
So, but now looking back, I think I was supposed to kind of go through this journey of discovery. So, um, I initially started as an animal communicator because my passion, uh, I've always had, and to this day, a passion for animals, all types of animals, all species. And
I
I
know you have a few
remember,
dogs.
yes, I have 4 dogs, and that's a whole nother uh, show that how they came into my life. But so, but during this time, it really kind of clicked after because I'm an Army veteran, and so I did 8 years in the Army. I was honorably discharged, and then I started asking questions like, "What is life? What am I doing here?" You know, those type of questions.
Existential crisis questions. Yep.
And then that really kind of started me having those type of questions and learning about meditation. Um, and then, one of my back in the day, I used to uh, follow Sylvia Brown, the psychic Sylvia Brown.
Yes.
And I bought her books. And whenever she was on Montel Williams, I
Yes.
was watching it. In fact, I think I was living in New York at the time. And I got a ticket to Montel Williams thinking she's going to be on there. And he had totally different guests. I was so disappointed because I wanted to meet her. But so here I am. I'm feeling strange, picking up people's feelings. And now I know today that I'm an empath, but I have this great curiosity about the paranormal and psychic abilities, and then animal being a pet psychic or animal communicator. Um, and so I just kind of was reading books, watching shows, reading articles, and I initially kind of came out of the spiritual closet um, as an animal communicator and oracle card reader. And I started doing this officially around 2015, 2016.
Wow.
And it was through Facebook groups that I kind of met my tribe.
Me, honestly, it is an amazing thing. People need to really, like, if you are feeling isolated, if you're watching this or stumbled upon this video,
Yeah,
guys, there are so many groups and everybody is so welcoming. The community is really wonderful. And, I could even, contact me. I could even give you links to a few groups that are really empowering and wonderful, because it does make a big difference when you have people that have experienced what you're going through around you in your circle. I've talked about this before, and I love
yeah.
that every person I have on the show validates that exact same thing of make sure that you have your village. It's important to do that, because if you don't, and you're isolated, it's going to make your struggle feel that much more like a struggle, you know?
I agree. So, and I still actually keep in contact with some of the people that I met through a couple of different Facebook groups today. It's really interesting. I think the people that I met, we were all kind of in this beginning stage. It was really, now that I think about it, or very different phases or levels of a beginning stage of discovering their gifts, and we would practice doing readings on each other and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So that helped tremendously.
100%.
So that's how I kind of got started. I was basically always, and to this day, very sensitive to people's thoughts, energies. At the time, I didn't know what that was. Um, and then also, I would see things I would see faces and, aliens, ETs. Um, and as I continued to grow and do different things, it finally came to, because I was in IT, information technology, for the Army, and when I honorably discharged, I continued in that field, and then I felt like, no, this is not for me. So then I went into hospitality, because throughout my life, I've always loved to interact with people. something about just talking, chatting, whatever. And I noticed that. So I was a bartender, a server,
Yeah, I
uh,
bet you do well there. Very
and then
approachable energy.
yeah, and then from there, that's when I felt this strong urge that this is not it either. Like I'm supposed to be doing something else. And then during this entire time, I'm still kind of fascinated with the paranormal and ghosts and psychic abilities. I'm reading, I'm watching videos. And then in 2012, uh, I adopted, rescued uh, my dog Buddy, who's still with me. And when we came home, he spoke to me telepathically and said, "I'm here to teach you patience." And I was like, "What? Did I hear that?" And he's just looking at me like that was it. So then I was like, "Oh my God, I need to learn how to do this." Long story short, because I was trying to go to a class or find a course, but I could never find anything locally. I live in South Florida. I was like, why? Why can I find? There was all types of classes in the
Online.
other states, the West, West Coast, but nothing in South Florida. And then I meditated on it. And long story short, my guides told me, you can already do this. You don't need a class. And then I was like, well, boom, I'm going back. They sent me back to a memory of me as a little kid in my grandparents' backyard, talking to cats, squirrels, bugs, trees. I was a weird kid.
I did the same thing. I can say nothing. So I understand what you were saying 100% because people think I'm crazy when the dog groans and I'm like, yeah, I know, give it 5 minutes, I'll let you out. And everybody looks at me like, what? And I'm like, oh, sorry, she just has to pee and she's not that urgent and she doesn't want to get up and bug me if I'm not going to get up. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing.
right.
So
So I
that,
think it's incredible what you do. And like, it's right. I think one of the biggest things is like you said, it's not necessarily needing a class, is trusting that feeling, trusting that what you're hearing and saying and what's coming to you is coming clear for you to trust it. It doesn't just come for no reason. And if you have not purposefully thought it up in your brain, then it is not ego. It is not yours. It is something that was given and it's something you're receiving. So I
yeah.
think that's absolutely wonderful that what you do is incredible. I find with myself, I can't turn it on and off. It just kind of comes when it wants to. And I've never spent a whole lot of time honing it in. To be truthful with you, I read tarot, and that was my latest past life, which I just recently, a couple of days ago, found out about, which makes complete sense now in what I do now and how easily that comes to me, where I can see the cards and I just connect the energy, and I'm just like, do, tell a story, you're done. Like I can, it's very easy. Whereas if I'm trying to purposefully connect with someone that's crossed over, I have to try really hard and concentrate and really work at it. And I want to hone that more. But I love what you said about, I used to watch Montel Williams like religiously. And I love the fact that that was who you watched because I grew up watching John Edwards. And
Me
really
too.
cool story. I was on TikTok when like I don't know, a couple of years ago now or whenever it was. And he was on his very first live ever. And I got on his very first live ever. And there was like millions of people on it, right? So he was going, I can't even read the comments. And it was funny, it was cute. But I was like, wow. And for me, I felt like, okay, this is your sign that this is the platform that's going to be able to forward your gifts because this is going to be the platform that's going to accept this community wholeheartedly. And I find as much as people say TikTok is kids dancing, I'm like, that's because you're not on it. Right? My whole feed is just like mediums, psychics, like spiritual teachers, like coaches, all kinds of wonderful, enlightening, beautiful things that I see every day and makes me smile. And like, I think it's great. So, I mean, I appreciate everything that you've done as well. For those of you at home, Leo took me on his live to announce this interview, which was very super cool. And I wanted to ask you, for those that are like me, that like it doesn't come as naturally, that you really have to work at it. Do you have anything that you could kind of, tips and tricks for people that want to kind of hone in on their gifts a little bit more?
Absolutely, absolutely. Practice, 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 practice. I'm telling you, um, once again, going back to Facebook groups, because one thing I also noticed is my friends, they kind of just fell off. When I started this journey, I had my homies, my club buddies, and then as I continued the journey, I wasn't reaching out to them. They weren't reaching out to me as much.
It's
And
very
then
true.
I expect that to be part of the journey, right? And this is for people who are beginning and, like you stated, right, are kind of curious. Expect your friend. Some will stay, but a lot will, because not everyone is open to spirituality, uh, new age, whatever you want to call it.
People can
Uh,
only meet you where they're at.
yeah. So that's number one. Or number one is practice. Number two is just kind of expect, and don't get so, because I remember, like, man, my friends don't care about me. They don't never, or if and then even when I reached out, it didn't feel right. Like, oh no, I don't know, man. Just had a totally, and it took me some time to understand, oh my gosh, this is is supposed to happen. Because if I told them today, or if they saw me today, what? You're a psychic medium, animal, you talk to, they would like, it would be crazy.
I
So
understand that. Same thing happened to me. So yes,
yeah, expect that. And it's okay,
it is.
because guess what? Your your angels, your guardian angels, and your spirit guide will bring people that's on that same, and plus you will attract people that are on that same frequency vibration. So it's okay.
So
You
true.
want to make new friends. Um, One particular thing specifically to animal communication
Mhm.
is, I was told, oh, I could just go on. Whew, I have some stories for you guys, but I'm just going to kind of keep it focused and on your
We can
question.
completely have you on again because I'd like to do that.
Okay. Um, Regarding animal communication, let me tell you, well, first of all, let's kind of step back a little bit. We all have abilities. We literally all have the ability to connect, to hear, to see, to feel. It's almost like we all have muscles. Um, and I think it also depends on your purpose and mission, your blueprint when you came into this incarnation. Like, what's your purpose? Like, is it kind of related to, but know that you have the ability, especially regarding if you have pets, if you work with animals, if you love animals, if you take care of animals, if you have pets, you have animal companions. I tell people this: you are an animal communicator naturally. Um, there's this technique that was shared with me. It's called the golden cord. And you can kind of do this with people, but I did this with Buddy many years ago, back in 2012, where I sat down, closed my eyes, and set the intention, whether I said it from my mouth or in my mind, that um, my intention is to be able to connect and communicate back and forth with Buddy, something to that effect. And it's called the golden cord method. And what you do is after you take some deep inhales and exhales to kind of get heart centered and calm, you imagine a cord, a golden cord coming out of your heart, your heart chakra. So for some people that did this, they said they saw colors coming out. Some, I remember one woman said she saw a thread, like thread, like
Yeah.
needle and thread. For me, it was like it showed like a huge cable. You know those cables that hold
Yes.
bridges, and it was frayed at the end. And so it came out snake-like. Buddy, I was in the living room. I never forget this. I was in the living room, and he was asleep in front of me. And so I'm sitting there meditating, setting the intention. I see this cable come out. It's got this gold hue. And then I thought to make it put together, make it come
Mm-hmm.
together at the end. And then filled it with my gratitude, feelings, emotions for Buddy, like my love for him, that I'm so grateful that he's in my life. And I imagined this cord snaking down. Now he's asleep. And I imagined the cord connecting to his heart chakra. So this is all just imagination. If people, some people say, well, I can't do that. I don't see that. It's the intention.
That's right.
If you set the intention, say, I'm going to do this, whether you see it or not, it's real. Everything is energy. So for the people that say, well, I can't imagine anything coming out, where is my heart chakra? One of the things I've learned and heard over, people have excuses. I had excuses, and sometimes I still have excuses.
Don't
But
we all? We're still human beings, right?
but let's get through that. There's no excuse. You can do it. You have to believe, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other tip. You must believe. You have to believe. If you don't believe,
You're dead in
then
the
it's
water.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I imagine this golden cord filled with all my love and gratitude and silliness, and it connects. I see it connect in my mind's eye to his heart, and I imagine all this love energy is going through this cord. He jumped up. Buddy jumped up, looked at me. He's like, "What? What's going on? What?" But not like I heard it in my head, like telepathically. He's saying, "What? What? What's going on? I love you too." And I was like, "Oh my God, it works!"
That is so cool.
So that's a really awesome. Uh, it's called the Golden Cord Method, and you can also do this with people that you love. Just imagine that you're connecting to their heart. Um, so,
I would
and then
love to try that.
the other thing is just practice. Get into those Facebook groups, because you can, um, you know, practice with the
Other
group
people.
members, and you don't charge, and they give you, all you ask is their feedback. Like, did that make sense? Do
Yeah.
you resonate with that? And oh,
Agreed. Anytime I do a new service of anything, I do a bunch for free first to get
mhm.
feedback on people that have no experience, people that have lots of experience. Of like, okay, I had this weird download for this like water Reiki thing, and I'm not even like I have one and two, but I do energy work. It's not really specifically Reiki, so I don't like to call it that because I feel like it's kind of a disrespect. But the guides were like, nope, that's what you need to call it because the masses are not going to understand energy work. They understand the word Reiki. And I'm like,
Oh,
it's not
okay.
a disrespect as long as you're still opening and closing with, prayer, etc. I'm like, okay, fair. So I gave a couple for free. And the one woman that I gave one to, she was like severely depressed for like 7, 8 months prior. She lost her job from COVID. She was like a friend of a friend of a friend of a family. And I contacted her and was like, listen, I don't know if this is gonna
Come on.
no
Hey,
worries.
quiet.
Mine's on the floor next to me and just let one rip. It's totally kosher. Right? So all morning. Thanks, babes. Love you too. But right, so, but yeah, so where was I there? But yeah, so with the water reiki, and it was remote, and it's like I put my hand in a bowl of water and she put her other hand in a bowl of water, and it was the giving receiving, and I just closed my eyes and let spirit kind of tell me what to do, and I trusted. Like, that's what I mean, you have to believe, right? And so I believed and I trusted it and I followed it, and here we are. That would have been, we're in August now, and I think when I did that was like in February, March. And
Okay.
she's like just getting back on a after a 3-week trip with her family, and everything's been going phenomenal. She found another job, like her, and she said it was like the next day she woke up with clarity of like what she needed to do to get to where she wanted to go, and it just needed to like clear the emotionality fog, right, to zip it down.
Right.
But it was the neatest thing ever. So I agree with you. Share, practice, go, do it for free for a little while and
Yeah.
see what comes back, right? Because you don't know. Like, and doing, I hear a lot of people that say, oh, well, I'm not good enough, or I don't know enough, or I haven't done this enough. And it's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your connection to people. That's it.
Yeah. And you have to get out there. That's funny you just said that because I was kind of in that phase too. Like, well, I don't want to put myself. And I just, another thing I want to say is meditation.
Yes.
Whether some people like, oh, I can't meditate. I've got so much going on. Figure it out. Meditation doesn't mean you necessarily have to sit in lotus position. You can go have a cup of coffee or juice and go sit on your porch. You could go lean up against a tree. So
I
people
paint.
expand. What was that?
I paint. I'm not a good meditator because, and I don't know if it's because of like connection to gifts or whatever, but I mean, I zoom way too quick and I can't slow it down, and it's scary for me, and I'm still not there yet. So slow moving for me. So exactly what you said, I tell people the same thing. I'm like, okay, well, I don't meditate like that. I don't sit in lotus and like, that's like
Yeah.
not what I do. I will go outside and spray paint. I will throw paint on a canvas, ink, whatever. This one, I was really angry. It's my rage painting. And I
Oh,
just went
wow.
out into the garage and did my like this crazy moon coming out of a fire spray paint art thing, and just let it go into the canvas. And that's like my meditation. I see things, I get clarity, I get
Yeah.
messages. I'll be painting, and all of a sudden it's like, boop, here's this business idea, shelf this for later, right? So like I agree 100% in everything that you're saying, of guys, like it doesn't, you don't have to do anything in any one particular way.
Yeah. I also want to say that another tip is if you can find your local spiritual metaphysical store, shop.
Yeah.
Um, I worked at two different ones as a facilitator. The first one was uh, on Miami Beach, and I was the resident animal communicator slash oracle card reader. And then I worked there for a while, and then I moved in to the mainland of Florida, Miami, and again, the resident animal communicator, oracle card reader. Um, find your local metaphysical spiritual store because a lot of times you can meet people that way, meet your new friends. They have classes, courses, workshops, and
A
stuff
lot
like
of
that.
them.
So,
No, I agree. Yeah. And hopefully, the whole dream for Romax Studios eventually is to be one of those. So
oh, really?
yeah, so hopefully one day, that's the big dream, is to have my own metaphysical shop. It's going to be like this cutesy little, we won't, people will come to us because there's only one of us, right?
I
And
love that. I
it's
love
going
that.
to
It's going
be
to happen. It's happening right now as you speak about it. It's
this.
forming. It's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there. It's coming. I love that.
And you guys, you can have anything you want. You just got to believe. That's the thing. And as long as your intent is pure, that's the other thing too. You know, we talk a lot about intent, but when we have intentions and we're doing something, make sure it is pure intentions, meaning not at the expense of anyone else,
Right.
right?
Because I want to tell you about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Um, because everything is energy. Let's say your intent is not pure or loving.
Yeah.
You can still attract whatever that intent is. And then you're wondering like, why is it's because of how I came into this. And because if you focus on something daily, it's all about, and that's the law of attraction. It doesn't, the universe doesn't look at good, bad. It just looks at energy and how much you're focused on it. Oh, he or she is so focused on bringing that. Let's help bring her that. And it could be, I don't know, whatever. And next thing you know, you've manifested it. And now you're like, if it's hopefully, well, because, us humans, we have to say what's good is if it's good, if it's great, or if it's bad, or if it's evil. But it's just energy. And
And
you,
you're still gonna get it one way or another, and that's the
right,
whole thing, right? So that's what I always say, like, make sure it's like on a like pure level, because whatever you're asking for, you're gonna get, and that's the
make
thing,
sure.
right? So you throw something white out, you hope you get something like, nice white light back, right? That's all.
Right.
Like, and what you did for me with the like bringing me on the live and like promoting me, I mean, that meant more to me than I think you really understand. And I wanted to show my gratitude and gratefulness for that, because that was really cool. And I fangirled a little bit over here in Canada and was like, guys, and I went on the thing, anything, and now I have like 20 new followers. It was insane. And it was like super cool. And to like just for no reason, to help me out for no reason, and all because I got this stupid indication in my brain one day to be like, oh, just drop him a tip. Like, you don't need a reading, just drop him a tip and blah, blah, blah. And look what happened. And it's like, and I've come, like, I mean, off the, or maybe in a separate episode, we could talk about the little girl around me, because I did figure that out. Um,
Okay.
yeah, she was my last timeline, and tarot ran in her bones, and she was doing it till since she was like 90, and she was called a truth seer, which is funny because that's what people call me here in this lifetime, is the truth seer, because I was an insurance adjuster for 10 years too. It comes naturally.
That's interesting. Yeah, we definitely have to. Maybe you can come on my live and
Yeah,
discuss that. 'Cause I remember you were saying you were asking about the girl.
yeah,
So that's cool.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. So, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here with Leo, and I'm going to say, all of you that are watching this, go follow him: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. I'm going to put all the jazz, all the links. Um, he's got a really great website. But what I want you guys to do when like interact with his stuff, but don't just spam his stuff. Okay, make sure you're watching stuff all the way through, but your pinned videos are the ones that I watch first all the way through, because it really explains, Leo, and kind of like who he is and what he does and the cool stuff on TikTok. So he's over there doing free stuff all the time. So thank you so much for joining us today, Leo.
Thank you
And
for having me.
of course, and all of you back home there, and everybody sitting in their house coats watching this, thank you for joining us on this journey, and we will see you next week.